Hey, hey guys, welcome back to my channel. You're crooked, I think, a little bit. No, now you're crooked. There's a dinosaur in the background. It's okay. Welcome back to my channel, guys. I am really excited about this video. I have been trying, I tell you what, to sit down and film this for you guys for weeks. And this is probably the 4th time that I have sitting down today alone to film this video. I filmed it 2 times before and I didn't like it. And I just really wasn't feeling it. So I am just going... Life with kids. I'm just gonna do it. I really feel like I was trying to, because you try to get inspiration from other people, but I think I was trying to so much focus on what they were saying and like just different people that I look up to or whatever in the YouTube community. But I'm just like, the whole point in this video is to do my journey and to share my journey and what I've been through. So that's what we're gonna do. So I've got my notes here, and I'm just gonna kind of go through it all. So I wanna say a little disclaimer, okay? I think that there is a huge community of women, people, period, out there who, if you're breastfeeding, then, you look down on people who bottle feed, right? And if you bottle feed, then you look down on people who breastfeed. Somebody always finds a reason to look down on someone else. And I just really want this video to not be that, okay? This video is solely the purpose of sharing my journey, because guess what, guys? I've been through both sides of the spectrum. I had bottle fed my daughter and I have breastfed my son, and he is 7 months. Camper's just chilling right here. He is gonna be 7 months in like 3 days. So this is really just my journey so far. And I really wanted to film this because he is starting solids already. He has started solids. And so I figured, okay, this would be the perfect time to kind of share my solely breastfeeding journey. And then maybe I'll do one, like that's breastfeeding and solid foods as well eventually. But right now, I really want to touch on our journey and different things that we went through while we were breastfeeding solely. So anyways, with all of that being said, hi guys, my name is Casey. If you're new here, I am a mama of 5 years almost. In February, it'll be 5 years. I have 2 little ones, a 2.5-year-old girl and a 7-month almost old boy. His name is Jackson and her name is Elena. I'm a stay-at-home mama, and I make lifestyle videos, vlogs, day in the lives, and sit-down videos for mamas, Christian wives, etc. So that is what you should expect from my channel, and let us just jump in. So first thing I really want to talk about is where it all started. So it all started with pregnant. That is how I found out I was pregnant, is I was leaking. Actually, I did have some leakage, and that was my telltale of, okay, I'm pregnant. So this is, everything I'm referring to is my second pregnancy, or my second time around. So Elena, I guess a bit of a backstory would be Elena, my first daughter, she was only breastfed for 3 weeks. And that was hard for me. There's a whole video explaining all of that I can sit down and do with you guys eventually, but basically I only breastfed her for 3 weeks, and then she was bottle fed from there on out. With Jackson, I really prayed, and I prayed my entire pregnancy that with him I would be able to breastfeed, because that was very important to me. Hold on guys, I need some chapstick. Okay, I'm back. So basically I prayed my entire pregnancy to be able to breastfeed and, without any discomfort, and to really just enjoy it, enjoy the process, and be able to do it as long as I wanted to. And this time around, by God's grace, I have been able to do that. We have had a wonderful time, seriously. But I will be honest, breastfeeding's not easy. It is not something to just be like, well, she's got it easy because she just whips it out and feeds her kid. Like, No, there's a lot more to it. That is what I'm sharing here today. I'm sharing what to expect and just kind of like the ins and outs. So, like I said, my first realization, my first, like kind of where my breastfeeding journey started this time around was when I was a couple weeks pregnant. It was before I got a positive pregnancy test from home. I had some leaking, and so that was my positive pregnancy test. Like I knew, like, okay, I'm pregnant, which is funny because some girls that I know that are moms experience leakage and they're not pregnant. They are actually a couple years postpartum. And so I know that that's possible too. So don't think like, oh, I'm pregnant, like just because I'm leaking, like that isn't the case. But I knew because we were trying to have our second baby that was my telltale that I was pregnant. So that, you know, some women can go early. Some women can start leaking halfway through their pregnancy. Some don't start until right before they have the baby. It just really depends. Now, I don't know what that is, but regardless, it's just something our body does. So skip ahead to when your baby is born. And now we are gonna talk a little bit about colostrum. So the first thing that you produce is colostrum. And this is what they call liquid gold. And this is what your baby needs in the first couple days of its life. And it is only an ounce or two, or, you know, half an ounce. It really just depends. But it is a very, very small amount because your baby is so incredibly small right now that that's all they need. So if your baby is only feeding for like 5 minutes, then they got what they needed and it's okay. Skip ahead to, you know, like, was it 3? I think I have down here. 2 to 3 days later is when it's supposed to come in. And it's a lot. So this is where you will experience engorgement. So this is just your body's response to saying, okay, I have a new job to do and I don't know how to do it. So I'm just gonna go overboard, and engorgement. That is just the best way to put it, I feel like. And this is no longer colostrum. This is your pure breast milk, and this is you're going to experience engorgement, which is very large, very uncomfortable, very heavy, very full breasts, okay? And that's just the easiest way to put it. And so for me, the best way that I was able to kind of combat that, because my son, one of the things that I really struggled with right off the bat was he was very tired, and it didn't matter what we did. We could rub him with a wet towel. We could take all of his clothes off. We could, you know, whatever it may be, like we tried everything, and all he wanted to do was sleep. And he would nurse on one side, but he would sleep while he was nursing. It was the craziest thing. So he wouldn't want to wake up for the full wake up feeding. So he wouldn't want to eat from the other side. So what I would do is I would use a Haakaa. And any products that I talk about in this video, I will link down below. But basically a Haakaa is a silicone, what are they called? Pump, basically, and you squeeze it and then you put it on the boob and it really just catches all of your letdown. Guys, without pumping, I have over 200 bags of breast milk frozen just from my Haakaa pump. That is it. Now, I did pump here and there if he missed a feeding or if he overslept, and whatever the case is. I think I pumped a couple times, but it was usually fresh milk that I would give him in a bottle. I wouldn't freeze that milk or whatever. It really just depends. The only times I ever remember really pumping is I would give him fresh milk because say I really needed him to sleep longer, because he wouldn't want to only sleep for an hour or 30 minutes or whatever at night. That first stretch, I would give him a bottle of breast milk, and he would sleep for longer because he was, the bottle kind of woke him up in a way, because he didn't feel comfortable because he wasn't against me and he wasn't warm or whatever. So the bottle was able to give him a feeding. And I would usually let Nathan do that right before bed, so then he would sleep a little bit longer. But that was usually the only time I would pump. Other than that, I used the Haakaa pump, and that seriously, I took that thing in my diaper bag. I would travel with a Haakaa and breast milk bags anywhere that I went, which brings me to breastfeeding no, I'm getting ahead of myself, which brings me to the time. Okay, mamas, I do not want you to stress about how long your baby is eating. If they are growing, then they are eating enough. Okay, if you are, if milk is exiting your body and your baby is growing and peeing and pooping, then your baby is fine. Okay, do not stress out about how long they are eating, because I promise you that baby is going to eat what it wants to eat, and it's going to eat when and how long it wants to eat. Okay, so with that being said, I had feedings where there was 5-minute feedings. I had feedings for 45 minutes on both sides. It really just depends on your baby. So one thing, because I had a really, really strong letdown, so that's another reason that Jackson didn't want to eat on both sides, is he would seriously eat on one side for like 15-20 minutes and he was done. He was done because he would get 3 to 4 ounces in that first. What's wrong? What's wrong? What's the matter? He would eat a lot within a couple minutes because of my letdown was so strong. So don't worry about the time. Don't focus on the clock. Really just, I do have an app. So I use an app. In the first couple months, they make you like write down every time you feed in the hospital, if you go to the hospital and have a baby. He wants to be put outside. Hang on. Okay. I'm back. Okay, so Jackson's sleeping. Camper and Nathan and Elena are outside in the backyard, so let's get this video finished, okay? So basically, what was I saying? Oh, the app. Okay, so when you're in the hospital, or if you are at the hospital, they will ask you to write down every time you feed your baby and every time they pee and they poop, okay? This is just standard procedure, whatever they do in the hospital. So instead of doing that, I got the app on my phone, that I could press a button anytime I would feed him, and I could do left breast or right breast. And they also have the option, if you're bottle feeding, you can mark that as well. Wet diapers, dirty diapers, like you can do a lot. And I'll insert a little screen recording of what my first couple days looked like with Jackson. They were all over the place, okay? Sometimes he would eat 12 times a day, sometimes he would eat 25 to 30 times a day. Really just depends, okay? And because he was a newborn, and so it really just depended on how hungry he was, if he was cluster feeding, really just depends. So that is one thing that I really, really enjoyed, because the days that I was like, no, he's not eating, like he's not eating at all, or he's eating too much, I would look at my app and then it would make me feel a lot better, because it just proved to me like, no, he had enough, like he's good. So my hair is falling down. You can feel it falling. Okay. So another thing that I really want to touch on is normalcy and routine. So I don't necessarily have a routine. I really just fed on demand, and whenever he would want to eat is when I would feed him. Now, if in the middle of the night he slept for a really long time, I would try to wake him up and feed him, only because I was engorged and I needed to let it out. That's really just your preference. You could do that, or you could pump while they're sleeping and just let them sleep. But me personally, I just would wake him up and then put him on me, let him eat a little bit, make me, drain out a little bit. And I say that because I got mastitis. And I got mastitis, I think he was January, February, March. I don't remember when it was the first time. But I kid you not, this is a video in itself because of how serious mastitis is. For anyone who has suffered from mastitis, please comment down below. I would love to hear your stories. I would love to hear your remedies and whatever, because I've had it 3 times and Jackson is 7 months old. And I seriously cannot stress enough about how serious mastitis is and how hard it is to go through it if you're going through it, especially when you're still breastfeeding, you've got a toddler running around, you got a house to run, all these things. It is seriously something that I wouldn't wish it on my worst enemy. I'm just being honest here, okay? I had a really hard time. Now, the first time I went through mastitis, I had strep throat, I had a daughter who had an ear infection, a double ear infection. I think Jackson had an ear infection. So it all contributed to me getting a clogged milk duct, which contributed to mastitis, okay? So that was literally the most, it was worse than recovering from labor. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. Because with mastitis, I got fever, I got chills, I was shaking all night long in the bed, couldn't sleep. It was just awful. So, with that being said, you need to be careful when it comes to pumping, when it comes to feeding your baby, because just honestly, in those first couple weeks, I would honestly recommend taking a supplement like sunflower lecithin, because that will keep your milk from being too thick, that it will clog your that it'll clog your milk ducts. So I can also link those things below, but I will probably do a video on mastitis if you guys are wanting that. I don't know, it's pretty straightforward. It's not something I would ever want anyone to go through because it's so hard and it's awful. But basically, that is just something that a lot of people deal with, and I was one of those people. So anyways, with that being said, just make sure that you're being frequent, make sure you're not all over the place. And one thing I would really say is do not wear a wire bra when you are breastfeeding, okay? That is the worst thing you can do. That is what happened when I got it for the first time. I wore a wire bra, and he was kind of still trying to figure out his thing, so he wasn't every 2 hours or whatever, he was just whenever. And I think I might have gone a little bit longer this last time, and I was wearing a wire bra out in public or whatever because my nursing bras were being washed, and it was just this whole thing. And I got a clogged duct the next day, and within like 24 hours, it was mastitis, and that's what happened. So just, that's really one thing I would say to never, ever, ever do, especially in the first weeks that you are breastfeeding and learning and your body's trying to regulate and everything. Do not wear a wire bra. I'm not even kidding. Burn it. Like, I got all of my wire bras out of the house because there's no point, because I'm nursing and I'm just not going to do it. I'm just not going to do it. I'm not going to do it. So anyways, that is one thing I would just say do not do, okay? Another thing is, my battery's about, or my phone's about to die. So another thing would be to just relax. Because if your baby's having a hard time latching and you can't get comfortable, it's uncomfortable, it hurts, then you just, and I know that sounds crazy, but I promise you, when you're tensed up and you don't like, you're frustrated and whatever, then your baby's gonna be tense, your baby's gonna be frustrated, and your baby is not gonna have the patience that your baby needs to be able to breastfeed. Breastfeeding's not easy, okay? But it's a lot easier when you can just sit and relax, okay? Everybody's like, you gotta sit up, you gotta hunk over, you gotta do this, you gotta hold him a certain way, you gotta hold him like a football, try this way. Just hold your baby, sit back, and relax, because I promise that'll make things 1,000 times easier, okay? Another thing I want to touch on that is just blows my mind still is how your body produces what your baby needs. I can't tell if Jackson's awake. No, he's good. That was Elena outside. Okay, so say your baby's sick. If you are pumping, then you're gonna see a change in color in your breast milk. I kid you not, okay? It is the coolest thing to see. You know, with the Haakaa, I'm able to like see the different colors and everything in my breast milk, but basically your body knows when your baby's getting sick days before your baby is like shows you signs that they're sick. So your body will start producing milk to combat whatever's going on with your baby. Breast milk is good for ear infections. My friend told me that she dropped a couple of drops of breast milk into her baby's ear when he had an ear infection, and that cleared it up. There's so many uses for breast milk. Sometimes I'd put it in his bath time, in his bath water whenever he had a rash, and it would be gone the next morning. There is just so many benefits of breast milk that I really think that you guys should seriously look into. It is the coolest thing, and it's just such a cool bond. Like, it is seriously amazing, the bond that I have with my son. Like, he's at the age now where he's physically telling me, not like with words, but like he's physically showing me that he wants milk, and I love that. I think it's adorable. So that is just kind of like where we're at in my journey right now. You know, things have really calmed down. I still do feed on demand. Like, I'm not really looking at the clock. I do try to nurse him when he takes a nap. I do nurse him to sleep. I do, you know, nurse him in the middle of the night still. I've been trying to nurse him when he wakes up from a nap, just so I felt like my supply was kind of going down a little bit. Oh, that's one thing I wanted to touch on. If you feel that your supply is going down, more than likely it's not, but if it is, and you know for sure that it is, then a lot of ways that can help. Now, I know there are different like pumping challenges that you can do that I've seen work for other people, where you nurse and then you pump, and then you nurse and then you pump, and then you nurse and then you pump. So your body's like, okay, whoa, I need to catch up because I'm not producing enough. So then that'll bring your supply back, and then when you see it start coming in, then you need to stop pumping, or you're gonna start overproducing. There's other things like supplements, drinking more water. Make sure you're eating, okay? I was really bad about eating in the first couple weeks because I'm no longer like starving. No. I was starving the first couple weeks because that's when I first started breastfeeding. I was starving. I could not be like, I couldn't eat enough. Like, I was so hungry. And that's just nursing. And I was super thirsty and all the things. So, but then, you know, you get to there's a guy outside my window. This is my front window, and so I'm like trying to like use the natural lighting, and this guy has been across the street all day long. And like I said, I've tried to film this. This is the 4th time I've tried to film this. So every time I sit down, he's outside, like on his bicycle, going back and forth and like walking around. It's just kind of weird. Anyways, I don't even know what I was saying. I got distracted. I had to check my footage because I couldn't remember what I was talking about. I don't know what my kid is doing outside with my husband, but anyways. So, supply. If you feel like your supply is going down, you know, more than likely it's not, because we always think that when, you know, you go from engorgement to being massive and uncomfortable to then now all of a sudden you're not, like, you think that you're like losing your supply, and really your body is just regulating to what your baby actually needs. But like I said, if you really, you know that you're not producing enough, then there are supplements like sunflower lecithin. I really like Earthly Wellness for my supplements. That's something I found pretty recently. I'll leave a link down below if you guys want to check that out. They have a lot of breastfeeding, you know, things that you can take. And they're all natural, no preservatives or anything like that. I love them. I love them a lot. I love all of their products. I use their like diaper rash cream, their good night lotion, all that stuff. I love them. Another thing is, you know, drinking a lot of water, make sure you're eating enough. And one thing I would really say as my biggest tip for you is to have patience. Have patience, because you're learning. Your baby is obviously learning. You're learning, your baby's obviously learning, and this is a beautiful thing. This is a natural thing, and you just got to give yourself time. Like my sister, she breastfed, I think 6 months. I think it was 6 months, and then all of a sudden she just lost her supply. So then she went to bottle feeding. You know, there's just a lot of different ways. My sister-in-law, she breastfed for a couple weeks and realized it was a lot for her because she couldn't get a good latch. So she would try to pump, and that's how she would feed him. And then it was really bad for her mental health. So she switched to bottle feeding. And you know, there's a lot of different ways that you can feed your baby, and I do believe that fed is best. But if you are one of those people who are wanting to breastfeed in the world where it's not so common anymore, then I really hope this video helps. I hope it makes you feel seen, because, you know, it's not easy. And I know that a lot of women do suffer from, I'm super close to the camera, sorry. I know a lot of women suffer from dry, cracking, bleeding, and that's all I heard about. That's all I heard about before I started breastfeeding. So I was scared to death to do it. But I still wanted to, but I was scared. And then I didn't experience that, and it was just such a relief. So I want you to know that, like, that's not everybody's story. I never, by God's grace, experienced the cracking and the dryness and everything. When you do start breastfeeding, though, I want you to know that it is painful at first, because like you're trying to learn, and so is your baby, so they don't know how to latch and everything. So and then the more kids you have, the more your contraction, what is it called? It's basically when you breastfeed, you can feel you're having contractions, and that's literally so that your uterus can go back to normal. So I felt that with Jackson, and I was like, I don't know what this is, but am I in labor again? And my doctor was like, no, it's just he is sending hormones through your body to make your uterus contract so that it can go back to its normal size. And I was like, oh my gosh, this is not fun. So, but that will pass, I promise. I think within like 2 weeks, it was like, I don't remember it really going past 2 weeks. So anyways, I don't think that I have a lot of other things. I guess, you know, breastfeeding in public, you're just gonna have to do it, okay? Especially if you feed on demand and you know, you don't have a super tight schedule, then I would just invest in a really good, and I'll link some of my favorites down below. I don't really like the ones that double as a car seat carrier and a cover, because I don't like that feeling confined. I just feel like it's too hot and ugh. So I like the blankets, and the blankets have always worked really good for me. And then I also found this blanket that has a like a strap that you can, it just like straps in the back for when they're for when they are older and they start tugging and stuff. So there's a lot of different things, but don't be scared to breastfeed in public. You are feeding your baby, and you have to feed your baby, and people can get over it. And I wouldn't say, you know, whip it out or whatever in front of people, because I do believe that that's not okay either. But you can do it, you know, modestly in public. There's nothing wrong with breastfeeding in public. So as long as you got a blanket and everything, that's how I enjoy doing it. Each to their own. But anyways, so that's really all I've got for breastfeeding. I hope that kind of helps. I will link some things down below and some different supplements and everything if you are having a hard time with supply. And I'll link some products that I really like for breastfeeding down below as well. But I hope you guys enjoyed this. Let me know if you have. He's back. What is this guy doing? Oh, he's making me uncomfortable because he doesn't live anywhere here. I don't know what's going on. Anyways, thank you guys so much for watching this video. I know it was all over the place, but that's just obviously the way that my videos work best, okay? But basically, that's what I got. So thank you guys so much for watching. If you don't already, please subscribe. It really helps my channel. And leave a comment down below if you're a mama, if you're a soon-to-be mama, if you've breastfed, if you bottle feed. I want to hear it all. Please leave a comment down below. I'd love to get to know you guys. And don't forget, my email is down below if you guys want to reach out to me and send prayer requests or start a conversation. I have the sweetest friend in Canada now who has reached out to me, and we have been texting back and forth. In fact, I'm going to text her and see how her day was. But anyways, I really enjoy having conversations with you guys and making this kind of content. So let me know down below what other mom content you would like to see. And I would be thrilled to film it for you guys. So like and subscribe. If you don't follow me over on Instagram, make sure you do that, because I am over there pretty much every day. And so yeah, thank you guys again for watching, and I really hope you have a blessed rest of your day, and I'll see you next time. Bye guys.